So how do we add a radio tuner to our app? This file represents amradio.java. This is that bubble, the cloud. But how do we get one actually working in our app? And the way we do that is we declare a variable of its type, and then we call that constructor down in the onCreate, and we actually construct one. So which Java file are we working in? We're working in the one that represents the app, the tuneactivity.java. And we're going to say amradio equal new am radio. What station is this radio going to be tuned to as it comes out of the box? Well, because we're calling the radio tuner constructor, and we're calling the one with no value, it's going to be tuned to 1000. If we wanted to tune it to some other value, like 900, we could just put 900 in that set of parentheses, and it would set our radio to be tuned up to 900. In fact, I'm going to start our radio at 1200 because I want to be able to work with the tune up button and test it out. So I hit save, make sure I have no red marks. If you do have red marks, you want to make sure that you're... Oh, you know what I did? I put these two on the same line. Radio tuner, radio tuner, I've lost my place. Radio tuner mradio gets a semicolon right here. Radio tuner semicolon. And then down here, after I have got my app going, I need to instantiate it. So I do mradio equal new amradio. That's where I put my semicolon. If I wanted to, I could do 1200. And it seems that in creating this this class called amradio, I deviated from the class name that I used in my slides. So in my slides, I called it radio tuner. In my demo, I called it amradio. I'm sorry. So over here, when you see radio tuner, you're probably going to need to see amradio. Now, how do we create an update station view? What is this update station view, and what does it do? So this is part of hooking up the model with the view. And if the model knows what station it's tuned to, there's no way that the user will know that unless we update the station view. If you remember from our class discussions about Cinderella and the pumpkin, this is we have to put the value in the pumpkin. If you're watching this in another class, that will make absolutely no sense, and I apologize. So this is a method, just like those other methods we made. It's a void method, which means that it doesn't have an answer, and it has nothing in its parentheses. So I'm just going to go down here where I've written some, oh, but where does this code go? Is this part of the radio, or is this part of the app? And because we're updating the station text view, because we're updating that variable right there, it belongs in the tune activity. So just go down here at the bottom where we write methods, and I'm going to make one called private void update. What did I call this? Update station view. And all the red marks are gone. Now you may notice the difference between the word private here and the word public here and here. And even in this case, there's another word protected here. Private, public, protected, and you can even write a method with no word there at all. They all have different meanings. Private means only code that's inside this file, inside this class, is allowed to use this method. So we don't want other parts of our code updating our view. We only want this app updating our view. So I'm going to hit save, and then we need to put our code in, which will set the text on the station text view to be whatever station the radio claims it's tuned to. And we do that by saying m station text view dot set text, and then we need to send it some text. And the text that we're going to get is from m radio dot get station. But my radio doesn't have a get station method. Did I miss it? Well, how would I make it? Where would the get station code live? Would the get station code live in the app, or would the get station code live in the radio? And the answer is, because we're trying to get the station from the radio, that code lives in the radio. Just like every other method, we do public. And if it were a method that did some work but didn't have an answer, it would be void. But because it does have an answer, we need to use the data type of the answer. If we're getting the station, it's the data type of the station, so in this case it's int. Public int get station. And because we have a return type, we have to return whatever the answer is, and the answer is current station. So this method, getStation, goes into the storage of this object, gets what the current station is, and returns it back as an answer. So now, if I'm typing this code, now that error has gone from an error to just a bit of a warning. So to update the station view, we need to set the station text view's text to mradio get station. Except mradio get station returns an integer, so we need to turn that to a string. And we just use integer.toString, the same way we've done in our other apps. Get your parentheses right, semicolons right, and this warning is saying, well, you've written this station view, but you haven't actually used it. And one place we can use it is as soon as this app creates itself, once it gets its buttons set up, then we can do update station view, and that should put on the screen what our radio station is tuned to. So here we're at a good stopping point. We can save, make sure all of your files have no stars. We can hit compile, launching, and if we're lucky and the emulator is playing right with my screen recorder, then I'll be able to show you. No, looks like the emulator is not working with the screen recorder, but let me pause it and see what I can work out. So here's my emulator. It's maybe it'll stay up for a little bit, and you can see when the app gets loaded that our station of 1200 is visible. So we sent the constructor the value 1200, and that's what showed up. Our on-click listeners don't have any code in them, so I can't tune down or tune up, but the app is there and it's running. So I'm going to pause here and give you guys an opportunity to catch up with me, and then we will move on and see what else we can see.